In 1999, I traveled to Central America with a college Christian environmental group and saw a whole new world of possibilities. Nature intact, people living in harmony with nature in small communities, living simply. The people I met felt like long-lost soul brothers and sisters, especially Mandy. At the end of this epic summer, we promised to remember what we had learned there and to never forget once back in the U.S. Over the years, modern life crept in, and we struggled to accept that, because we remembered living simply so well.
Every time I come to town, you know you look so sad when the show is over and you are happy again. Tell me your boss don't respect you.
We lost connection with community, with nature, and I completely lost touch with Mandy.
Quit your job, sell your car to that fool that you live with. You don't live here anymore. And bring your banjo, I will teach you how to play. You know it's never too late. Help me out on that chorus. I know it's never too late.
Miraculously, we reunited 8 years later and were astounded to learn that we were longing for the same thing: a chance at a sustainable life. Connected to the earth and to each other, we had been so happy. Could we find that again?
No one intervened on behalf of...
For KRXA, this is Tomorrow Matters, Talk Radio for a Better Tomorrow, the premier spot on the West Coast for solutions to environmental and social problems of today for a better world tomorrow. What does sustainable living look like? Who's got it figured out? And where are those places out there that we can learn from? These are questions we have and you have, and we need to find out answers, and we need to share those answers. And my guests today are on a cross-country quest to find these answers themselves, document it, and provide the rest of us with a story.
We're giving up our houses and cars for a tent and bicycles.
And we're going to travel thousands of miles around the U.S. to visit 100 sustainable communities.
Let's do it.
This is our home until we find a new one.
We're going to eat organically, use solar power, work trade at these farms, see what it takes to live a more connected and sustainable life.
We got a little psychological that.
What inspired me to change my life was I had been living for over 10 years basically with an unhappiness that something just wasn't right. I wanted to live more sustainably in community on the land.
I found myself working really hard to pay for all the things I thought I needed. I ended up really overworking and overcommitting and really hit rock bottom and realized everything really needed to change. We're like really happy to have the bike here.
We've been waiting for this bike for so long.
Is this the biggest bike in the world?
The reason we decided to ride bicycles is because it's cheaper, better for the environment, and better for us.
Good job.
I think this one goes in here. The thing just locks over this, but there's supposed to be two poles. Set, go. Whoa.
Here's Mandy on the first day of our first bike ride day. She doesn't want to get up. It's 6:45.
I do too. Here we have sprouted veggie burgers. This is sprouted black beans. Here's the sprouted beans. So we just can sprout these anywhere on the road. Very nutritional.
So even starving bicyclists can eat good.
This is probably like a $2 sandwich at most. And in DDO, oops, no worries, still tastes the same. We sold or gave away most of our possessions and packed only what we thought we needed for the road. To fund our trip, we used what little savings we had and hoped we could make it last.
There's a holy day of freedom I need to run like I should run.
This bridge represents the start of a long journey, crossing bridges to a new world.
Whenever we had a chance, we would use our website and blog to stay connected with family, friends, and supporters of the project.
And today, we're plugged in to the walls of a gymnasium at a high school. Working hard on the blog, and really tired. Really tired. Dreaming about living in sustainable communities someday in a cob house with a big thing of lemonade and a garden out front for easy pickings and a big fluffy bed for a good night's sleep every night. Oh, and a warm fire and lots of friends about.
What is sustainable community? Two very important ideas kind of woven together as one. Community is something we have whether we like it or not. We have the community of our office job or our neighborhood where we don't know our next door neighbor's name, or we have the community where we know all of our neighbors and we see each other often. Sustainable is almost like an ideal. When you put community into that, it's about a community where the group has decided to live in these ways and aspire to these ideals.
It's a place where all of us can live our values.
A place of unification or of synergy that everyone feels a part of rather than somebody wins and somebody loses.
It's sort of about the quest for utopia, really.
Bringing questions about what makes a human being happy to the forefront and saying, let us structure our society around that.
And it's about land not being private, it's about land being a collective space.
Being around people who are loving and they're compassionate.
A group of people living simply.
People growing food together.
Living with each other, sharing resources.
Sustainable technologies, sustainable buildings.
So what it comes down to is organizing humans harmoniously to be able to kind of work with all of those resources and create something beautiful.
We found a website called ic.org that has a list of communities from around the world where people are living together with a shared purpose. We saw that there were a lot of communities in Southern California called co-ops. We decided to start our journey there.
What makes this house like a community?
People that decide to live here usually have common goals or interests. Interest in politics, interest in worldly events, interest in sustainability.
How would a facility look that sort of demonstrated how all these different systems of human life can interact with each other, mutually benefit each other in such a way that is like beyond sustainable? So we have the upstairs shower and sink feeds into this pond. And we have a number of aquatic plants with bacteria in the root systems that bioremediate the water, sort of clean it up a little bit, and then we pump it out to irrigate the landscape with it.
I feel that this community just in general looks towards sustainability, but in itself is already sustainable in that we are a much smaller footprint than a normal house would be. If we were living in smaller groups, maybe 3 or 4 to a house, we cover up pretty much this whole block.
And if you figured that if every single one of us had our own apartment, that'd be 29 refrigerators, 29 washing machines, 29 couches, 29 everything.
You know, using one burner to feed 23 people, sharing clothes and skills.
I'll get started cooking something, let's say a pasta dish. Someone else will come in and be like, oh, well, hey, if you're making pasta, I've got some great stuff to make a sauce. Oh, great, let's do that. And then someone else will come and be like, oh, hey, guess what? I just got back from the farm and these peppers are amazing, so let me chop up these peppers and we'll saute them. I'll chip in, you chip in, and the next thing you know, we've all got a great meal. And then finally someone will come in and be like, I haven't cooked anything, but I have a bottle of wine. Oh, great, come, join. You know.
Being able to live with diverse folks and skill sets is definitely a must in this community. And we work through consensus, which I think in a way helps you to see how you can cooperate with 20 people in the room and see what the best thing is for the group.
Basically, we're going to go down each of the kind of the sections of the house.
Yes, we are.
That are being decorated, and if there's somebody signed up for it, just describe kind of like general idea of what you want to do, and then we can all talk as a group of like.
When it works, it's awesome. When there's a lot of conflict, in that process, it's really difficult because it does break our spirit.
You should think of the common house good and be like,
Why don't you think of the common house good and do it? You're.
It's not offensive. Please stop attacking me.
But as many times as there is left for solution, there is many times where it miraculously works, and we just like, all right, we consent, let's move on.
The co-op in America has the potential to be what families are in places like Mexico, you know, these extended networks where anyone who comes into them is welcome and has food and shelter and love.
We found out that a housing co-op is everyone living under one roof, sharing stuff and responsibilities, which frees them up to do more meaningful things and have more fun. But I would want to find a community where I could raise a family, and living under one roof with 20 other adults seemed a little too chaotic for me.
We're just getting started on this journey, and I can't wait to see what else is out there beyond California communities.
All the way from San Francisco, no leisurely ride. They're actually on a mission. Ryan and Mandy have been on the road since October. They plan to go all the way to New York, then make it home. They're stopping at sustainable communities where people live together or share resources. They average 30 miles on their bikes a day.